Hello and welcome to this training that is on safely scaling to the moon. Okay? Big, bold words. So here's what we're going to cover. What are super early warning rules, right? And why do we care about them? Why do they help us? The background behind these rules, so why they work and why they will continue to work. How to find your key metrics from your ad accounts to create your rules with, right? And that will make sense further on into the training. Trust me on that one. How to set up your super early warning rules, and then how to safely scale your ads to the moon, all right? So more spend, safely spent equals more revenue, which equals more profit, all right? And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Right, who am I? So, my name is Martin Cook. I'm based in Hampshire in the UK with my lovely partner Kat and Winston, our dog. You can see them over here. And that's Kat, not an actual cat. And yeah, we've got a baby on the way as well. Very excited about that. As any entrepreneur will tell you, I'm no different. I've failed many more times than I've succeeded, and it's a little bit of a formula for success, really. The more times you try, the more times you're likely to succeed, and it only takes one success, one big success, to completely transform things. But before that big success, I've been worried about how I'm going to pay my bills, how I'm going to feed my family, and so on. The usual things. I'm no different like that, okay? And naturally, if you speak about your entrepreneurial life, as I've tried with your normal friends, they'll never really understand the stresses, and often will just tell you to get a 9-to-5 job, which isn't what any of us want, right? But fortunately, the 50 plus 6, 7 or 8 figure marketers across the 3 masterminds that I'm in do understand the stresses, and it's super powerful when you can discuss anything like this with the guys in your mastermind. That collective brain power is insane. I've owned multiple 6 and 7 figure Shopify stores. I also did the whole sort of t-shirt selling, book selling, lots of different things, jewelry, accessories, all this sort of stuff online as well, prior to the Shopify stores hitting big revenue numbers. And I co-own a software company called DevJelly with my partner Victor there, okay? I've got about 10 years of experience in the e-com world, and I've learned a lot from that, right? And I'm going to try and pass on as much of that information to you today, all right? Okay. So let's now jump into the Facebook algorithm. Let's geek out a little bit. So Facebook is a wonderful beast, and it doesn't publish, by the way, it doesn't publish the majority of how it decides what it wants to show to who and how much it wants to charge. But there are things that we do know. For example, Facebook is in a constant struggle between keeping its users happy, right? And we, the advertisers, are not its customers. Their customers are the people that go on a daily basis, share statuses with their friends, and like and poke and attend events and all that stuff, right? Those are the people. Facebook wants to keep those people entertained. It wants to make what those people see in their newsfeed as sticky and entertaining as possible, so that those people keep coming back and get really addicted to their service. The more of those people that come back, the more impressions Facebook generates, and the more impressions they can sell in the form of advertising. All right. So what they're looking for is this ideal world whereby the adverts, which they have to serve to the users to pay for their bills, are entertaining, right, and engaging. That's the utopia for them. They want the adverts to be just as entertaining as the posts that the users are getting and seeing from their friends, right? That's what they want. All right. Okay, so now that we know that, let's talk more specifically about the algorithm that controls your adverts and shows your adverts to the people or not, right? First of all, there's a random element, okay? Now, what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is your ad will get shown to a small group of people, Facebook will look at the results, the metrics around engagement for that small group of people, and this is really important for this training, and decide whether it's a good ad or a bad ad, right? If it's a good ad, it will encourage you to spend more and try to get you to show your ad to more people, right? It will reduce the ad costs. That's one way of encouraging you. So your ads which are super cheap, it's because the engagement levels are high and Facebook considers it something that its users want to see. And that will hopefully encourage you to spend more money, right? The reason this is like a random element is it could show your ad to 3 sets of 100 people, 3 groups of 100 people. The first group just happens to not be they don't particularly engage with stuff. They didn't really they enjoyed looking at your ad, but they didn't like it, they didn't click on it, they didn't share it or whatever. So Facebook thinks, this isn't a very good performing ad. But it might be if you did this exact same ad to the exact same audience, the second time round, that audience might be 100 of the most engaged people. And they all like it, and they all share it, and all comment on it. And Facebook thinks, wow, this is like the best post I've ever seen, and gives you super cheap ads, right? So not all ads start off equal, right? And it's in that early stage. It's like the first 100 or so people where Facebook decides how to treat your ad forever, right? And rarely does a bad advert come good. So ads that start bad rarely become good. I just said that. And a bad ad will typically have a low click-through rate. It'll have a high cost per link click and no add to carts or sales. But this random element comes in really early on, right? It's this click-through rate. And I'm not even talking about outbound click-through rate. The click-through rate can include enlarging a photo post. It can include liking. It can include commenting. It can include clicking that see more link if you've written a lot of text in your status. Okay, this is engagement and clicks that take place actually on Facebook. All right, it's not necessarily a click that takes you off of Facebook to like a website or another destination. Right, so bad ads. These are the symptoms. Right, ads that come out the gate hard must be capitalized on. So these are your good ads. They'll have a high click-through rate and be rewarded with cheap clicks, cheap add to carts, cheap purchases, and great return on ad spend and click-through rate, etc., etc. All right. So what we want to do is identify as early as possible the good ads. Well, we want to identify these ads as early as possible, and we want to kill these bad ads, and we want to scale the good ads, and we want to do it automatically. All right. Okay. So here's the scaling strategy in a nutshell. So we want to detect our bad ads super early, right? Our goal for this is we want to detect a bad ad before 50 cents has been spent, all right? This means, sorry about this. Right, we want to detect our bad ads super early even before 50 cents has been spent. So if we launched 100 ad sets, right, and if somehow they all failed, it would only cost us $50, right? Because if we're able to detect them before 50 cents, right? So there you go. If you're enabling you to launch hundreds of ads a day, right? So let's move on. And we want to keep the winning ads, right? So say in that scenario, we've launched 100 ads, 20 of them do really well, 80 of them don't. Okay, so we kill the 80 and they spend 50 cents each. Okay, so those 80 have cost us $40, but those 20 have made one sale at $30 each. Okay, one sale at $30 each of those 20 is $600. So we spent a total, so 100 ad sets, we spent a total of $50 to make $600, right? Return of ad spend is 12 in that scenario, right? That's pretty solid, okay? And that's really what we're kind of looking to do with this strategy. We want to keep those winning ads because they were the ones which will not only make us profit on day one, but they'll make us more and more profit as we continue, all right? and by killing those bad ads very, very quickly, they haven't really hurt our profit. Like I said, like it'd be like $40 in that above scenario. So I've been using these rules. This isn't theory anymore, okay? A month ago, it was more theoretical, but I've been using these for a month, and they are crazy good. I used to have early warning rules, right? I used to have early warning rules where I would spend $3 before deciding whether it was a good or bad ad. The trouble is then, if you've got 100 ad sets and you spent $3 on each of them, you know, you've spent $300, which is a little bit more expensive. And what I've managed to do is get it even earlier detected, right? That's been the goal. And so it's 6 times better, dropping, you know, so 50 cents compared to $3 cost is 6 times better. All right, they actually work. And then I shared my findings and my rules with some select people in my mastermind, and they've been using the rules, and they still work. Okay, they still work. These are killer, right? And this is how I've been able to scale very, very quickly recently at very low cost, and how my return on ad spend has been super high. All right, super high, and you know, a real increase of profit as a result. Right. Okay, as I said, this isn't theory, this is real, and so I want to now show you how you can do this for yourself, all right? So let's analyze the data. All right, so the starting point, you want to go over to your ads manager, all right? You want to set up your date range to lifetime, and don't worry, you're going to get something like this where Facebook can't load in all your data. It doesn't matter, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to customize your columns, boom, and you want to have these columns, right? Ad set name, amount spent, return on ad spend, click-through rate, all, this is an important one, CPM, cost per any action, CPC, cost per link click, so that's the CPC for your link click. Actually, let's have a look what other CPC they've got. CPC all is one you definitely want to have in there as well. Cost per website content views, cost per add to cart, and cost per website purchase. Right. If you're doing other kind of ads, so this is geared up for e-commerce. If you're doing other kind of ads like cost per lead, then put your cost per lead metric into there. If you're doing lead generation, basically what you need in your columns is you need these cost per, but you also need a measuring stick. Okay, so what good looks like, what bad looks like. So in this example, I'm going to show you based on return on ad spend, right? For me, return on ad spend of 3 or more is good. Okay, so I've got that measure in here, but I want to see what these metrics look like, right? For the different return on ad spend levels, and so that's why I've got those in there as well. So set up your columns accordingly, hit apply, and you get left with this, right? Then what you want to do is you want to go to export and export it like this, all right? And hit export, and it takes a little while, and then you'll get something like this. Okay, so here's all my data. Let's make this a bit bigger. There we go. All right. Okay, so here's my data. Right, it's not really that meaningful at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I select all of it, and I'm going to go sort and filter. All right, there we go. Now, what I'm going to do, as I said, I'm interested in what a good ad looks like compared to what a bad ad looks like. We spoke about this right at the beginning of this training. Okay, so I've identified in my business that what I want is I want ads to give me 3 times what I spend on them back, right? So a return on ad spend of 3 or more. Now, if you're a Trust Ads customer, there is a return on ad spend calculator available in the members area, so you can work out what return on ad spend you need for your business. But you can also look at things like your cost per website purchase, any of these numbers, that what's important to your business, all right? But if it's e-commerce, you should try and get it around, about to do with purchases rather than anything else. Okay, so Right, here's what we're going to do. So we've gone sort, and we're going to go to whatever column is your important column. So for me, it's return on ad spend, right? And I'm going to sort by ascending. All right, so I know that the lowest return on ad spend's here, and then it goes up gradually. And I'm going to create a new column here called good or bad ? Right, okay. Now let's scroll down to the point where, so these are all dud ads. These are all dud ads over the lifetime of my ad account, if you like. All right. So let's keep scrolling to where it goes to 3. All right, almost there. Boom. There's 3. Right. So from this point upwards is bad. Okay, so we're going to go copy, and then we're going to go to the top. Just get my keyboard controls right here. There we go. And go bad. Right, now we know that from this point to the end. Whoops. Let's just jump down to here. My fat fingers are hitting all the buttons. Here we go. Right. And I've just added these annoying things here, so we don't want any borders on those. Right. Okay. So then what we want to do is we want to go Command Shift down. Nope. Right. I'm gonna have to do it the long way. Right. It's good, and we want to scroll to the end of our return on ad spend column. Right, there we go. These ones are our good ones, okay? Now, what that leaves is the ad sets which didn't return anything, okay? So there isn't a return on ad spend because they didn't generate any purchases that Facebook tracked. So let's scroll back up. So the final thing we need to do is to just select our blanks. Trying to do this again, but really not having any of it today. So these are bad. So we'll drag this down. The computer is really not wanting to help today. Okay. Great. So let me just these are all the blanks, so almost there. You know what, and I'm sure some of you guys watching this are thinking this guy is a bit of an idiot when it comes to Excel. That's fine. I don't pretend to be an Excel expert, but I am very interested to hear better ways of doing it. But anyway, here's the bad ones. Right, so now what we're left with in here. Something I just realized. I accidentally put it in the wrong column. No problem. Okay. So now what we're left with here, if we go select all, is this column, which is like our winners or losers. So in here we have the good ads and we have the bad ads. All right, really easy to sort with those. Right. So now the good stuff happens. So what you can do is, just looking at your bad ads, like so, you can have you can average out your click-through rate all. Right. So down here you can see the averages and the counts and stuff down here. Right, so or you can do a formula to summarize what that looks like, and you can do it for each one of these columns. So the cost per my link click, if I highlight all of them like so, I can see that the average cost per link click is 2.256. Right. So what you want to do is you want to summarize these columns, summarize your metrics, and write them down. And you want to do it for your bad ads, and then you want to jump over to your good ads, and you want to summarize. So you can see like there, for example, the average cost per link click is 1.47 for these. So once you've got all of this information, you'll be able to write it down. Let's jump back in, and you'll get to something like this. Boom. All right. So this is what I learned when I ran this exercise. So for the non-profitable campaigns, we had CPM of 9, cost per any action 28. Click-through rate all was 2.14. Cost per click all 0.5. Cost per website views, cost per page. You can see the data, right? Now, the ones which I found significant here were the click-through rate all and the cost per website views, right? Which is really good. This is really good, right? And here's why. Right? We want the metrics from as high up the customer journey as possible, right? They're the ones that we want to look at. Remember, we're talking super early warning rules, right? So we're not talking about when we've spent a bunch of money to the point where we've got add to carts and purchases. We want metrics around the very, 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 very first actions that that our potential customers perform, right? And the very first action that they perform is a click of some description, whether they're liking, enlarging, and all the stuff that I said before, which is this metric. Facebook gives you this metric, click-through rate all, right? This includes that. Right. The next thing that we're interested in, perhaps in the customer journey, is the cost per website view. So I've included that as well, right? So these are two very, very early on things, and you can see that for my bad ad sets, the ones three return on ad spend or less, the click-through rate all was 2.14. Remember, this is my data from a month ago. You can run this for different time frames, all right? It might be that different times a year your metrics change because your business might be seasonal or whatever. So you can look at those time frames. If you've got any kind of historical data, you can look at these time frames. So the click-through rate all is 2.14 for my bad ones and 2.5 for my good ones. Wow. Are we beginning to learn what the magic number is that Facebook is looking for to decide whether it's a good ad or a bad ad? I think we might be getting close to it, okay? Cost per website views. You can see this difference. Now, I don't think Facebook necessarily cares so much about your cost per website views. I think they're giving you a cost. They're charging you. And I think they're charging you according to what your click-through rate all is, right? Remember, this isn't the click-through rate, your outbound link clicks, okay? I can't stress that enough, all right? So you can get a pretty strong click-through rate all data. If you're looking at your ads and you've set a new ad, brand new ad, right? You can get a pretty cool, a pretty clear indication of what your click-through rate is from only a couple of hundred impressions, okay? A couple of hundred impressions usually costs less than $1, right? It's really cheap, right? You don't need to spend much money to put your ad in front of 100 people or 200 people, okay? Particularly if your audience size is big. All right, so you can get this data very, very quickly, very quickly. So once you've analyzed your own ad sets, you'll know what a good ad and a bad ad looks like for your people, for the people that your products combination combined with your audience, combined with your optimization levels and all that kind of stuff. You can find out what good and bad looks like for your business, okay, using the method that I've shown you in Excel. All right, this is what it was for me, right? But this is a massive difference, really. It doesn't, they're both 2 point something, but this is actually a pretty big, pretty significant difference. So what do we do with this? All right, we create some rules. Okay, so now I'm going to jump over to Trust Ads, and show you some rules. Right, so we've got 3 super early warning rules here. So let me jump into them. All right. So what I did based on the data, okay, so based on this data, we've got the cost per website views and the click-through rate all. What I did first was I said, right, okay, since I know that a good cost, for my good ads, the cost per website view is around about 75 pence. In my case, my this ad account is in pounds and pence, right? I said, okay, so I'm going to set one rule up whereby if I get no view contents, and yeah, I've spent 75 pence, right? I want to pause. Okay, I want to pause my ad. So spend is greater than or equal to 74 pence, and I've had no view contents. And then just for good measure, I've put in add to carts or purchases, right? So if there's some scenario where Facebook didn't track the view content but did track the add to cart and purchase, I just want to be doubly sure that I'm covering that off, right? So in this instance, any ad set that has spent 75 pence or more and hasn't generated a view content, add to cart or purchase will get paused straight away, right? Really, really early on. So that's my sort of no response rule. Then I created another one, right? Remember, you only need to spend a small amount of money to have had a pretty significant click-through rate, to be quite clear on your click-through rate, okay? And my click-through rate, 2.14 versus 2.5. All right. So I added in a little bit of a margin. 2.14 is a bad ad, and 2.5 is a good ad. So I was looking around about the 2.2 level. Okay, so if I've spent at least 50 pence and my click-through rate is less than or equal to 2.2 and it's had no add to carts or purchases, because sometimes you can have a rubbish click-through rate and you did get a purchase, so I'd like to let those ad sets continue. Pause it. Right, so really, really early on, 50p. That in dollars is, depending on the exchange rate, about 60 cents, I think, something like that. All right, so this rule will pause my advertising. Now remember, the rules on Trust Ads run up to every 15 minutes. Okay, like that, the quickest you can have them running is every 15 minutes. Okay, so your ad sets, and I'm going to go through the ideal budgets later on in this training, but your ad sets won't spend your money that fast, but it's checking every 15 minutes. And then the final one that I created was it's slightly later one, if it's spent £1.50 and the cost per view content is greater than 0.9. Okay, so you can see that my cost for my bad ads, my cost per website views is 1.48, and my cost per for my good ads is 0.73. So what this is looking at a slightly longer period of time, so £1.50 spend. So to get to £1.50 spend, it's made it through these other two rules. But then the cost per view content has increased, I guess. And so this is now looking at just slightly later on. So these will kill it around the 50 pence range. This will then kill it around the £1.50 range. And then I've got my early warning rules which kick in later on, but this is the super early warning stuff. This is the stuff which filters out the bad ads, the most expensive rubbish ads very early on. Okay, so that's what my 3 rules look like, and these will just run 24/7 whilst I sleep, whilst I play, whilst I do whatever, okay? And I can just spend my time launching and launching and launching new ad sets, all right? So this is how you'd set up the rules. So let's jump back into the training, all right? Okay, because, right, okay. So this method is great, but what you need to do to be able to take most advantage of it is launch lots and lots of ad sets, okay? And you know that you're being protected. You've got that, your back's covered. You know that you've got this intelligence in place to make sure that it's not going to overspend, right? But what you still need to do is to be smart with the way that you're making tons and tons of ad sets, because we're not just going to create the same ad set over and over and over, like the exact same. Although, there is an argument that you could do that. We want to create as many ad sets that are slightly different as possible. Okay, so let's go into that. Right. So when we're creating ad sets, right, you have an audience, you have a starting audience. Okay, so for each audience, which might be a range of different interests, for example, you can create slightly different ad sets just by tweaking age groups, gender, country, or my favorite, optimizations. Now, the optimizations, when you do a website optimization ad, could be add to cart, purchase, view content, initiate checkout, or it could be a custom conversion event if you've set those up, of whatever ones you've set up, right? So you could have the exact same audience and you could duplicate that out 5 times. One for view content, one for add to cart, one for initiate checkout, one for purchase, and another one like a custom conversion. It's the exact same audience, right? So each audience that you have, you can then duplicate out 5 times and just tweak it based on the optimization, right? Then if you wanted, you could tweak out your audiences and you could say, okay, so it's the exact same audience in terms of what interests I've chosen, but I'm going to have 21-year-olds to 35-year-olds and then 36-year-olds to 65-year-olds. So you've split them in half, all of them split in half. And so that audience, the exact same interest combination, is now split in half across the 2 different ages. And then you've got 5 different optimizations for each one of those. So now you've got 10 ad sets. Okay, then you might want to split test them by gender. So now you've got 20 ad sets. Now you want to split test them by country. Okay, well now you've got as many countries as you choose. So we've already up to was it 20, I think, 20 here, and then it's 20 times the number of countries you do. So even if you only did 10 countries, you're now up to 200 ad sets, all right? So it's increasing pretty quickly, and each one of these ad sets is subtly different. So they're actually unique ad sets, all right? So now we're only at the audience level, okay? But now what you could do is you can create more audiences by creating lookalike audiences, all right? So if you've got custom audiences of page engagers, post engagers, that's if your post is a video, visitors to your website, visitors to specific pages on your website, people that have triggered your add to cart event, people that triggered your purchase event, people that you've uploaded from your email lists, and that's segments of your email list, so people that have spent over a certain amount, or people that have bought from you recently, or people that have bought in certain niches, or just everyone, right? You can create a custom audience for all of these, and then you can create lookalike audiences between 1 and 20%. With Trust Ads, you can create up to 20% lookalike audiences, right? You can also do it with other software. You can create a lookalike audience, so you can create 20 lookalike audiences per country or group of countries for each one of these custom audiences, right? Do you see suddenly how many different lookalike audiences you can potentially create if you created 20 for each one of these custom audiences down here, right? So how many that is. And now if you created if you created 20 for each one of these custom audiences, and you did that again and again and again for 10 different countries, right? You can see just the sheer volume of different audiences that you can now create, right? Then, for each of those audiences, you can create multiple ad sets. So for these lookalike audiences that you could just run your ads straight to these lookalike audiences, you can then split them up by age or gender, right? And different optimizations. So say you created 1,000 different options here, you've got 5 optimizations, so now you've got 5,000, right? You've split your age groups into 2, so now you've got 10,000. Now you split your gender into 2, so now you've got 20,000, right? The country would obviously already be covered in the lookalike. Then, for each lookalike audience, you can layer it with a broad interest. So if you were targeting golf, you could create a 20% lookalike audience and layer it with golf. Or you could layer it with Tiger Woods, right? Or you could layer it with Masters. The massive interest within the golf space, right? You can layer it. So that same lookalike audience can be used multiple different times by layering it with different broad interests, right? The number of ad sets that you can actually create it's huge, absolutely huge. But the reason you wouldn't do this ordinarily is because you could end up like losing your house overnight, because 20,000 ad sets, if you created 20,000 ad sets at $10 a day, you could potentially lose $20,000 a day. Is that right? 20,000? No, that'd be at $1. You could lose $200,000 in a day, right? If they didn't work, right? Because you haven't got this guardian angel, you haven't got this software looking after you, right? And you haven't got these super early warning rules in place. And then, if that wasn't enough audiences, you could also layer your lookalike audience with behaviors, right? Behaviors. There's a whole menu of behaviors when you're setting up your ad. So you've got interests, and you've got behaviors, and you've got demographics, and you've got other stuff. Okay, so you can layer again and again and again. So there's so many ad sets that you can create. Okay, so what I want to now do is give you some tips around your scaling. So it's a given that you've found out what metrics are the exact metrics are for your ad account, what's good for you and what's bad for you. You've set up your rules, and you're ready to now start setting up tons and tons of ad sets to scale your good campaigns to the moon. All right. So we're going to start by creating ad set variations, just like I've just gone through, right? And you can either do this yourself, or you can teach an employee to do it. There's software around the way you can quickly create lots and lots of different split test ad sets and things like that. If it has all of the options that we had on the previous screen, great stuff. I do it in Power Editor by duplicating, and it's very quick to do. I find it very, very quickly that you can do it very, very quickly if you have a system. Once you've got your 5, you can then duplicate that, so you've got 10, and then just tweak those 5, and it's simple, right? You start them at $10 to $15 a day. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to use the lifetime objective. So it's not really $10 to $15 a day. You want to set your lifetime for 30 days out. And so your lifetime budget will be either $300 or $450, right? But according to whether you're going for the $10 a day, $15 a day mark, all right? So this is just what I find is the sweet spot. Now, you've got the option as well. If you know what your most popular times for whatever your desired action is, you can day part those ad sets as well and just have them running at the optimum times of the day, okay? Right. Now, here's even more bonuses for you. What you want to do is you want to exclude your previous buyers and add to carters and your viewers, okay? Even maybe your post engagers, because you want to retarget them separately. You want these prospecting ad sets, which is effectively what they are, to be hitting new people over and over. You don't want any of your money being wasted on these people. You want to hit these people. You do want to hit these people, and you want to hit these people hard, but you want to do it with your retargeting adverts. You want to do it with separate adverts, okay? Now, when you're setting the start time for your ads, you can either set it to the next most popular sales window. So if you're in the morning of your day and the evening is, you find that the evening is when it's most popular, when you get most of your sales, right? You could set it to start at the beginning, or maybe like an hour before that popular sales window. If not, you could set it for a minute past midnight the next day. This is just to avoid a sort of common scenario where sometimes Facebook will catch up, if you like, on your on the missed spend. So if you've started halfway through the day with this $10 budget, Facebook will try and catch up and maybe not spend your money quite as efficiently as you would like, and it just wastes your ad spend. So setting your start time helps protect against that. And then what you want to do is, if you're selling the same thing, and if you've got one post, right, one popular post, you want to point every ad at that same post. So if it's a published post, then you can just pick that post. There's an option in Power Editor to use an existing post, and you point every single ad at that same post. Or if it's a dark post, you create it once, then you go and get the post ID for that post, and then point all of your ads at that post ID. Okay. What this does is it means that every single person is seeing the same ad. what that means is, well, first of all, it's very easy for you to monitor. It's very easy for your VAs to monitor for comments and reply to them and things like that. But it also means that you get more engagement faster, and you get a lot of social proof. If you've got hundreds of people on that particular post all saying, I want this is amazing, this is great, that helps prove that it's a good thing to buy, and those people that are on the fence might end up then buying. Also, what you can do is you can use trustmessage.com, that is, to message anyone who's commented on your post, so with a special offer, right? So what trustmessage.com does is anybody that has commented on your post, you can send a private Facebook message to with like a special offer. And inside the Trust Message members area, there's lots of template messages and strategies for getting more comments, and how to like track your comments. And I believe as a member, you'll also get access to a case study which shows how Trust Message generated a member $40,000, an extra $40,000 in just 3 months. Okay, so definitely worth checking out. And if you've got everything pointing at the same ad and you've got all those comments coming in, it's a no-brainer to monetize those comments as well. All right. So the results of this entire training and putting it all together. Okay, you're going to be able to quickly launch tons of ad sets, right? Unique ad sets. You're going to be able to quickly and automatically kill the losers before they've cost you much money at all. You can then duplicate the winners many times over. You can also do this automatically as well with rules and trust ads, but you can do it manually too. You can duplicate those winning ad sets lots and lots of times over. And those duplicates will still be covered by your super early warning rules. So if some of those duplicates don't fire as well as you'd hope, they get killed quickly. It's great. But the winners will continue to make you money. You're going to get more engagement because you're going through one post. You're going to get more engagement, right? Which amongst other things means more comments. And then you can follow up those comments using Trust Message, which means more money. And most beautifully, when you're launching tons and tons of ad sets, you're going to spend more, but safely spend more, which will result in more sales, which is more revenue. And because you're forcing only the best ad sets to be running and killing those bad ad sets, it's going to be at a profitable level, profitable return on ad spend, which equals more profit. More revenue in this instance equals more profit, right? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite you to try out, if you're not already a member, I'd like to invite you to try out Trust Ads, which is the software I showed you to set up the rules. You can go to trustads.io, right? And today you can try it for just $1. Okay, so you can set up all of those rules and you can try it out, and try it out for $1. So that's basically free. And launch all of these ad sets and see if it works for you, right? It will work for you. It works for me. It works for my mastermind. You can see the theory behind it. You can see the results. You can see why it will work. So you can set this up for yourself. You can go back through this video. You can pause at the key points, go over the key points where there's numbers, where there's rules being set up. In the members area, there's tons of training. You'll get access to our group, which at this point has over 200 members who are all keen and helpful, and you can post up questions there, and they're so prompt, often answering questions before my team has a chance to, and just scale. And now is such a great time for you to double, triple, quadruple the revenue and profits coming into your business. And super early warning rules, I firmly believe from the bottom of my heart, is one of the best ways to do that. All right, so I'd like to invite you to go to trustads.io, check out the testimonials, check out the sales page, and start your trial for just $1 today. Try it out. If you don't like it, you can cancel, and it still only just cost you $1. All right, so I hope that's helpful. If there happens to be a comment box around this video, please leave your comments. You can check out my Facebook page. You can check out the Smarter Destiny group, Facebook group. You can check out trustads.io. You can check out trustmessage.com, trustmsg.com. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much, and I wish you the very best in your business and personal lives. Take care. Bye for now.